Hi, my name's Mike DeLong. I'm the pastor of the Vine Church. And if you are listening to this podcast or watching this video presentation, this is our special series on race. At the Vine, we believe that the answer to our current situation is not to draw our battle lines, retreat to our corners, and not say anything to each other at all out of fear of saying the wrong thing. We believe that the answer to our current situation is to actually lean in. It's to have the discussion. It's to actually work through the differences in worldviews. It's to talk it out. Now look, when we do that, it's going to be messy. I mean, really messy in places. So as you consume this series, which has one-on-one interviews and panel discussions, you'll have to remember to be grace-filled yourself. For there will be messy moments where you will be offended. Because you see, here at the Vine, we have a pretty multicultural congregation. We have many different people from many different backgrounds. It's just a matter of time until I say something or somebody says something that offends you. We live in a culture that's cancel culture based. Anytime we don't hear what we like or don't hear what we value, there's this temptation just to shut it down, cancel it. I'm going to ask you to suspend that for a moment. Offer grace to all that speak in this particular series. And as we work through this together, let's pray collectively that the Spirit of God would open our minds to the worldview of the other, give us perspective and mercy for the other, and that as we move together as a community, we may not fix the world, but we may become a shining example of how we overcome the differences in worldview through these discussions. This is our intent. Now, here's the deal. I can't control how you're going to react to this. The Bible clearly says in Romans chapter 12, it says, do everything within your power to live at peace. As far as it depends on you, do everything to live at peace. Which means know my heart and know the hearts of those who've participated. We want to promote unity. We want to promote clarity and a biblical worldview. There will be moments when in our brokenness, in our inability to communicate effectively, we'll say things off the cuff that will not be exactly what we hold to be true. But I can't control your reaction. I can only ask you to be mindful, thoughtful, prayerful, and grace-filled as we work through this together. All right, proceed. Love you. Mean it. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to our podcast, Pewology. If you're watching this online, YouTube or Facebook, jump in, make a comment if you'd like. And if you're listening to us on our podcast, doesn't matter the platform, thanks for joining us. I got my good buddy Josh here today. Let me do a quick review.
Yes, please.
Okay. So Josh and his family were coming here to the Vine. Josh was traveling. And you'll have to remind me what set this off, but we live in a climate right now of great unrest around the issue of race, but this is not new to you. This has been growing for a long time. Especially towards the end of 2019, you were becoming more and more deeply frustrated by this. Yeah. You reached out to me, and you're like, hey, I want to come talk to you. And I was like, cool. I could sense the passion around the subject. I said, hey, I want you to listen to this podcast first. Sent you a podcast to which you had a fairly negative reaction to. And then we never got together. Then I reached out to you to participate in this, knowing the situation and your passion on it, because I thought you'd have an interesting worldview on this, and realized that I had been blaming you for not getting together. And actually, I'd sent you the wrong podcast, and it was a little disconnected from what I was trying to send you.
Right.
So,
but it worked out. I have to admit, I'm grateful it worked out because there's a lot of things in my head, a lot of things that you try to suppress, if you will.
Yeah.
So, and you were definitely good to talk to. Absolutely, like hands down, one of the best people that I've met in my travels to talk to. So losing that, to be honest with you, all for miscommunication is like, geez, like.
But we were like the poster children, and I'm admitting to you right now and saying publicly, I'm definitely sorry.
Likewise,
it wasn't
brother.
my.
Likewise,
it was never my intention
I
to brush you off. And
I know.
Okay.
I know.
And so I totally dropped the ball a little bit on this one, and we're kind of poster children for, I think, what's going on in our country a little bit, talking past each other and not talking to each other.
Yes, it's no, we weren't going to get much accomplished silent. That's definitely what's going to do
Well,
it.
I've been saying this. So let me tell you the theme behind this. I've been saying that right now, based upon the murder of George Floyd, that it would be very tempting, especially for, let's just be honest, very tempting, especially for white folks,
Right.
to say, don't say nothing. This will burn itself out. Just retreat back to your corners. Let's not talk about this. People are too upset, right? And I'm a big believer that it's in these moments that, as risky as it may be, and this is a risky moment for a white pastor, right? You can say a lot of the wrong things right now.
Can.
Is the riskiness is we should be leaning in. We should be leaning into the mess, having the conversation, talking about the things that are important, debating and struggling through the worldviews, listening and trying to hear what's being said. I've been saying now more than ever we should lean in, even though there's a huge, like we live in cancel culture. Anytime somebody doesn't hear what they like, they just cancel it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they just block it out.
Right.
All right. Okay, so let's get it rolling. So I've asked every single person I've interviewed this question. We've done a lot of interviews now. Have you watched the whole Floyd tape, the video?
I've watched several angles. I'm confident I've seen all the videos available.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I saw maybe 3 or 4 different angles.
Reaction. What was your reaction?
I still have problems with it. That's me on the ground, That's my son. And no, not my son. That's Miles, my son, on the ground. That's, my friends. That's, my uncles. It's my cousins. It's my brothers. And I live it every day.
Yeah.
Just thinking, like, knowing that you're on camera, and it's like, so what? It's just a black person, It's just Floyd. It's not a big deal. I worked with him. It's not a big deal. It's just Floyd. He's an addict or whatever the case. It's just George. That's all. It's not a big deal. And for anyone to partake in watching this and not doing anything, it's like, wow, like, do we really mean that little, And this just made the wound deeper, wider, I wish I could say it was a slice, but it probably never was just a mere slice. It was always a gash, always a deep wound, but watching that video, yeah, it's a lot, man. It's a lot. And even now, like I said, just talking about it, just hearing about it, just thinking about it, it's a drag down, to say the least.
Let's go slow. You say, when I saw that video, I saw me, I saw my son, I saw my loved ones. Tell me about your personal experience. What has your personal experience been like with law enforcement?
I'm from Brooklyn. Grew up in the ghetto.
Okay.
I had the misfortune of watching and living through the crack era. And I remember friends of mine that their moms would feed me, clothe me, embrace me. Well, now they were asking me for drugs and for money, and it's like, what? What happened, you know? Friends I went to school with and hung out with, they started selling drugs early, and I'm like, yo, what you doing, bro? Like, you know, so it was absolutely shocking to see this. So at some point, I adopted the perspective that, oh, I guess we are bad, you know? I guess that's why white people don't like us so much, and I get it. So when this Bloomberg thing came out, stop and frisk,
Okay.
me being not naive, me being reasonably young, me knowing how my neighborhood was, I thought he was right. I thought he was like, okay, well, what's the big deal? You know what? If you're not doing anything, so what? You know. I let this guy convince me that violating my civil rights because of my complexion was okay. This became a law.
Yeah.
They can pull up on any random person, but not really. Not really though. You know what I'm saying?
But it was definitely
You know,
targeted.
But in my area,
Yeah.
anybody can be stopped.
Right.
But they don't do this in other areas. They just target areas like mine. And okay, what's in my pocket? Your business. You know, as long as I don't have a firearm, as long as I don't have something that's gonna hurt someone, and to stop 1,000 people and the percentage that they recovered anything was so minuscule that it was like, yo, we need to get this out of here. But at one point, Mike, I thought they were right. I thought it was okay. I thought it was, hey, they stopped me 20 times, this week, and hey, big deal,
Have you had a lot of interaction with law enforcement?
Lot.
Really?
A lot. I've always been a big guy.
You think? Do you think it's appearance? I mean, no,
Absolutely.
I get that you think it's race related, but do you think it's, hey, I'm a big guy too.
I think
I
a lot
look.
of officers, a lot of people in school, in the neighborhood. So when you're the big guy, you have this idea that if they get the big guy, everyone else will run, or people will scatter, or whatever the case can be, or they'll set a precedent that I'm not to be messed with because I beat up the big guy. So it was not uncommon for me to be challenged by whatever the case may be going about, life. And oddly enough, anytime I encountered an officer that was smaller than me, which was quite often, even when I had the face of a 15-year-old, a 14-year-old, a 13-year-old, a 16-year-old, whatever the case may be, it was their intentions quite often to remind me, I'll take you down. I can change your life. Even if they didn't always put this in the air. I've been pushed, shoved, cuffs on too tight. Like, yo, what did I do? Like, I've been caught with marijuana over
Right.
my. That is the worst. And what happened with Akina? I mean, spanking my child,
Yeah.
finding out the hard way. Florida doesn't allow that. No problem. Okay, that part is behind over and done
Right.
with. But throughout my history, my arrests have been marijuana. Like,
Right.
and I think jumping the turnstile when I was a kid, once. So I don't have anything that, whatever.
Not a lot
stop
of
me from
violent
doing-
history
no,
or anything
no
like
violent.
that.
I don't
Yeah,
have
yeah.
anything crazy. So
Nothing like that.
So when
Pretty minor offenses.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So when I think of how we're pulled and shoved and pushed and beaten, and mind you, cameras just got big. Even if people say, "Oh no, we've been recording for 10 years," yeah, that's still just, 20 years. That's still just,
Yeah.
I've been out of school since '94, so we're not talking about something that, wasn't a problem all these years and no one knew. Everybody knew. Everybody knew. People saw it. It's just your word against the officer's word.
Well,
Quite
okay.
often you're going to lose.
What would you say to someone who says, because you lived through this, I have no concept of stop and frisk.
I appreciate that.
You know, zero. I've never even been to New York City, right? What would you say to somebody who said, "Yeah, but the crime statistics in New York, stop and frisk actually lowered crime"?
But it didn't.
Okay, you don't think it did?
No, I know it didn't.
Okay.
It absolutely didn't. That's why they eventually had to weed it out, because it was like they're stopping thousands of black people, and they're not recovering anywhere near. Like the percentage was under 10%. So if you said the percentage was, even if it was 50, let's say it was straight in the middle, 50.
Right.
You can make an argument. You can make a case.
Do you think? But let's go slowly. Do you think that's a good argument? Do you think that if the pragmatic argument of a lot of people, all different races, would say, well, if it works, it doesn't matter how it works. Is that a good argument?
It's wrong, period.
Okay.
It violates your rights.
Right,
Your civil
okay,
rights, period.
Okay.
But you'd have at least more of a leg to stand on with that.
If you
being
had
your
that argument.
backing,
Okay.
If you had
Fair
better
enough.
statistics. But at no point would I say, no, it's okay, because it's not. It's not. I think that it should be one way, you know. There shouldn't be laws that only pertain to black people. A coworker of mine just showed me something on Facebook, and I had saw it, but you know it's been long detached from my memory until he showed me again. I believe it was an armed robbery. It was a white kid and a black kid. There were 2 years difference in age. I think one was 18, the other one was 20 or something of that nature. Both old enough to be charged as adults. Each one of them had, this is the same day, the same court, the same judge. They both had a total of 136 points, whatever that means that with their crime.
Yeah.
It was a total of
There was a
136
system of
points.
measuring
Right.
this, right? Sure.
The white kid got 2.5 years in county jail. The black kid was
Which it
sent
comes to jail. That's like.
Yeah, well, that's the best you're gonna get.
Yeah.
Okay. The black kid got 26 years in prison. Why?
What's the disparity?
It's the same exact crime, totaling the same exact points. These kids are 1.5 years, 2 years difference in age. Oh, there's a bigger gap. Their complexion. Why is that factored in? And it's always been, I promise you. I know guys who've gotten 10 years for less than a handful of crack. I know guys who've gotten no time, and they got caught with an ounce of cocaine. Like,
Yeah.
you know, what? You know, their record, they have little things on their record, but it doesn't, I know a kid, I worked in a lot of nightclubs in New York.
Yeah. That was your gig?
Yeah, I did. A lot of bouncing, a lot of personal security. I met a lot of people and I used to work in a spot in Bay Ridge. Bay Ridge is middle, upper class Caucasian people, but you know, I mean, there's been some bad things happening to black people out there, but still, the club environment is there. There's a guy I used to work with. He was a promoter, white guy. He can drive his car as fast as he wanted, down the wrong way. Excuse me, down the wrong way.
Yeah.
Never get pulled over. Like, what the heck? I do 46 and a 45. I got problems.
And you felt like there was going to be an issue.
Just about every time I've been pulled over prior to me moving here. No, I don't want to say that. I'd say at least half the times I've been pulled over, I was told to get out of my car and was searched. And I thought that was just the way it was. And again, violation of my civil rights. I watch these tyrant recorders, and I see them. Yeah, I'm not getting out of my car. Yeah, what law did I break? No, I'm not opening my window. No, you can slide what you need to slide through, and talk to these cops any kind of way they want. Colorful language included. They're not giving up any ID till you tell them what they did. I want your supervisor. I mean, like, wow. Well, I got pulled over about 3 weeks ago. It didn't work. When I asked him, well, what did I get pulled? I need your license and ID. Sir, okay, what did you pull me? I need your license. Aren't you supposed to tell me what I did to be pulled over? You gonna give me your license and registration or I'm taking you to jail. I just came from out of town. I didn't even get a chance to shower yet. I didn't get home. A 3.5 hour ride from out of town, Miami, an hour from the job, and now I'm almost home and making my turn on over by Pleasant Hill. And geez, and I don't really want to go to jail. Not for the weekend, for sure. I just got in town.
Yeah.
So now, okay, we're going to do it your way because you clearly have the power. And I gave him my license and registration. I wanted to keep my window cracked. Open that window up. Wow, this doesn't work anything like the videos. Jeez. But you know what did work like the videos?
What was that?
6 other cop cars showed up. Just like the videos. Mm-hmm. And then I believe he was a sergeant. He was a big dog. Well, whoever allegedly saw me this offense, who stopped me initially. But his name wasn't on none of the paperwork. Some other guy signed his name or his initials where my name goes. And they gave me 2 tickets. And I'm like, wow, this... He just handed this off to somebody else. Like, you didn't see, he wasn't here, but just take my word for it. It's like, wow, this is America. Mm-hmm. This is America, you know? And I'm going to fight it, you know. The courts was closed when I went down to fight it, but I told me I could do something online, and we'll see what happens. But do you know how many thousands and thousands of tickets go, bias tickets, that go unchallenged? We just want to go back to our life. We just want to get back to our lives. We want to avoid you at all costs. If you said I was doing 50 and a 40 and you're lying, it doesn't matter. The only way I win is if you don't show up to court, you know, or if there's some discrepancy with the paperwork. Why should that be the case? Why, again, does my complexion factor into so much in this great country?
Tell me your thoughts on the aftermath of the Floyd murder and now all of the protesting and the good and the bad that's come along with that. What are your thoughts on that?
I think, for starters, I think a lot of people have the misconception of thinking that Martin Luther King's protests, everything surrounding it was positive and peaceful, and that's not true. You know, what people fail to realize, the hands down change, like really, really, like, was in the atmosphere, like something has to get done, guys, is when they gunned him down. When they took him out, when they took out Kennedy, you know, when these things were tied to, you know, race relations, America said, we got to do something. We got to give him a little bit. Got to give him a little bit, you know. and they gave us a little bit, you know. Mm-hmm. But now, the rioting, the marching, the yelling, the screaming, the tears, I think the positive has been very positive. The negative has been, unfortunately, very negative. Mm. And the sad part is that we have entities involved in the negative that have nothing to do with supporting the cause.
Instigators.
They're instigators.
Of all different races.
Of all different races, absolutely. And some attach them to the government. Well, it's not even some attached. It's a factor. It's a fact that some of them are attached to the government because the police are some of them. Mm-hmm. You know, even right now as we speak, with America in such a broken state right now, especially people of color, with the officers know that they're under high scrutiny. Mm. They're under, you know, the eye of Big Brother, like they're watching closely. They're still doing the same thing. Still doing the same thing. Dragging college students out of their car, beating them, like everything, busting windows, stabbing tires, like a pack of wolves. Why does police officers remind you of a gang? Why there's far too much connection between police officers and gangs? It shouldn't be that way. They should be as far detached as possible. Yeah, we're an organized unit that does good. A gang would be the opposite, an organized unit, and quite often a disorganized unit that's not for the good. Police used to be, officer friendly. It's not my reality. And to see that even now you have people using this situation for a means to make things worse, for a means to incite anger, rage, higher conflict between the powers that be and the protesters. It's horrible. Like, this was your opportunity. Like, an opportunist would jump in at this point. I mean, geez, if a deer is already shot and he's bleeding out, you don't have to go, poke him with more arrows. You go slit him throat and put him down, or you don't have to, and what a platform they have to cause as much destruction as possible. Unfortunately, there's too many police brutality cases going on right now. George Floyd is what we see predominantly, but Sandra Bland's things, those wounds are still open. Obviously, the young Mike Brown, and like, there's still so many people, but you tend to forget their names. There's so many, and it's like you can't do anything comfortably and be black, including protests, because they want you to know, hey, I'll take you out, bro. Like, I'm the guy to do this.
Yeah.
It's. I saw an officer in one of the videos. I don't know how tall he was in person, but on the video, he didn't look to be that tall. I'd say maybe 5'7", if that.
Yeah.
Full riot gear, this big old gun, and he was just ready, shaking.
Is it during this protest time?
During the protest time.
Okay, got it.
And to see, like, he's baiting people. Yeah, let's do it. Come on. Like, when did you guys become gangsters, man? What happened?
But let's be fair. Watching a lot of these protests, you got a lot of these guys baiting these cops too to interact.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
You get paid to do this.
Oh, I get you. I'm just saying.
Guess what? Something tells me at some point. So, Mike, white pastor,
Here we go.
you oversee a congregation of the United Colors of Benetton.
There you go. Come on.
Black, white, red,
Yeah.
green, and all in between.
Right.
Something tells me in all the years you've been doing this, someone has tried to pull you out of character.
Yeah, sure.
All
Absolutely.
right, and guess what? I don't care what happens unless someone strikes you that's your size. Even if someone strikes you your size or bigger and you take them down and you keep going,
No, I get you.
we're going to look at you different.
Definitely. I'm not. In fact, that's what I was trying to send you originally, was the discussion that surrounds the power, the unequal footing of power between the police and the public, and the responsibility that is on our law enforcement to conduct themselves in a higher manner. Now, I think our perspectives diverge on this a little bit because of experience. Okay. And I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm saying you're shaped by your experience, I'm shaped by mine.
Absolutely.
Right? But let me ask you this. I want to ask you about a specific individual case that I'm asking other people that I'm doing these conversations with, and I want to get your opinion, like honest opinion. So we've been looking at this Breonna Taylor incident. Are you familiar with the details of the Breonna Taylor deal?
I know quite a bit about it.
Okay. So just for all our listeners, 26-year-old African-American emergency medical technician, Breonna Taylor, was asleep in her bed when the Louisville Metro Police Department executed a no-knock warrant, entered the home looking for drugs based upon an investigation of an ex-boyfriend. Mm-hmm. And in the execution of that no-knock warrant, she was shot 8 times, over 20 shots fired. What was your initial reaction to that?
will this be the one to
That
make a
puts it over the
difference?
top?
Will this be the one that makes someone say enough is enough?
Do you have any law enforcement in your family?
My
Do you know?
mom's brother, but I don't know him well. So.
Do you know anybody in law enforcement?
A few people.
Do you? You know anybody you like?
Well,
I'm just asking for experience sake.
well, it's funny because I work with a white guy in the clubs like for years,
Okay.
and he's quite my junior, but he had access to a lot of owners a lot of people that gave him contracts or whatever may have you. So
Okay.
he connected me with a lot of money.
Okay.
Helped me sustain
Yeah.
my comfort zone for years.
Yeah.
When I found out that he was trying to be a cop, it's like, wow, it's horrible because
You didn't feel like he was character worthy.
I knew he was the kind that would be,
Trouble.
yeah. Any case that came out about white cop killing unarmed black man or white person killing unarmed, or whatever the case may be, he rationalized it as the black person was wrong. He dropped the N-bomb like it was nothing. He felt as if he grew up in Flatbush, Brooklyn.
So he was allowed.
He
was given a pass.
I didn't like it, but a lot of the guys that we worked with went to school with him prior to me coming on board. So though him and I got cool, and I used to say, I don't like that, but like he used it often, and chase black women. I guess he thought he was, the guy. But I knew if this guy makes the transition to NYPD,
We're in trouble.
he's going to be a terror. And sadly, he did. He did transition it.
Here's my question. When these guys execute the no-knock warrant, her boyfriend shoots first.
Okay.
I'm just asking. We tend to talk about all these cases, and in all the panels that we've done so far, we kind of wrap all these cases in a group and almost paint with a broad brush. Like these are all very, very similar. Where each of them has their own kind of circumstances and details to them. And when you get down in the nitty-gritty, it gets a little more funky in certain places. But if you're a cop and you're executing a warrant and somebody shoots at you, is it okay to return fire the way they did? Is it not? Is there mitigating circumstances here?
I think it's so. I try not to pile them all together.
Okay, you try to look at them as individual issues?
They are individual. A lot of them are eerily similar.
Yeah.
But they're still individual occurrences. Unfortunately, with the Breonna Taylor incident, if I'm an officer and you fire at me, it's a green light for me to do what's needed.
Yeah.
The thing about it is that you still do have a responsibility of hitting your target. You kind of have. If he's in the bedroom, she was hit 8 times.
8 times.
Okay.
I'm assuming it was dark because they were sleeping.
Okay, that's fine.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm cutting them a break there. I'm like, okay, it was probably dark. They're probably firing in the room. They don't know what they're firing at. They're firing at being shot at.
But dead people don't talk back.
Fair enough. Fair enough. He's alive.
Right.
Yeah.
But, dead people don't tell tales.
Right.
And like it or not, you should be held to a higher standard. So when you think about it, the person you came to get,
Okay.
okay, I wasn't there. I don't know if he fired first or not. If he admitted to it, I didn't listen to him. I just listened to the news surrounding it. I read some articles surrounding it.
Right.
And then I saw some protests that didn't really materialize as much until George Floyd's situation came about. Then the Breonna Taylor incident,
Say her name.
it gained some more, some push. But cops, the story is whatever they say it is.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what it is.
Yeah.
If they have a camera on, I've seen quite often. I've watched this. where they can cover the camera. I've watched them, do things to conceal the event in its entirety, even when being recorded. Okay.
I guess what I'm asking you to think about, and what I'm struggling with, is this particular case is getting traction here with all the current protests. But I look at this case and I go, and look, again, I'm a white guy talking from my experience, right? And I get the fact that we may look at this from very different worldviews and come out on very different kind of planes.
Right.
But I look at this and go, is this about race or is this about power out of control?
That particular case? Or?
Yeah, that particular case.
Well,
because for me, think about it. For me, I look at it and I go, to me, if the police are executing a no-knock warrant, they're doing their job.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
But I think there's a fair question to be asked, which is, should the police be using the tactic of a no-knock warrant? Now, since this case, they've suspended no-knock warrants.
Right.
So that's my question. Is the law enforcement mechanism using tactics that are power out of control, right, that should be addressed? But this isn't really racism, but it's kind of getting lumped in. Does that make sense?
It does.
Okay.
It does. And that's a great perspective that I can't even say I've really chewed on much.
Okay.
But I can look at that and hear it right now and break that down and say, yeah, I can definitely. So a no-knock warrant is I mean, it's a green light to kill. I mean, think about it. If I can kick your door open.
Because I could believe you're an intruder, which is
Absolutely.
what the boyfriend said.
I was going to say, absolutely.
Right.
You kick my door open, and in my mind, I have the right to defend myself.
And if I'm a gun owner.
So you gave him a green light to kill these people.
Yeah.
Any no-knock warrant is a green light to kill someone, because it doesn't matter what color you are. If you shoot to defend your home, then they more or less have the right to gun you down.
Yeah.
So, and what American, if they have if they have a firearm at home, what American's gonna let someone kick their door open and not start shooting? The moment they hear something, like, what's going on? The first thing they're gonna reach for is a weapon, something to defend themselves. And in America, a lot of times that mechanism to defend yourself is a firearm.
Yeah. Second Amendment, baby.
So I can understand from an officer's perspective. Some will argue I was doing my job. Some live for this. Some want to be. Some want to be on the no-knock warrants. No, let me take it. And still, where's the accountability? Hey, listen, an innocent woman, and let's just say innocence for I mean, she had a job, she worked.
No, by all accounts,
she's in a bad company.
All accounts, this is a woman caught in the crossfire.
Right. Very bad company, but you kind of should have some kind of accountability where you're obligated to hit who you're shooting at. Yeah. Kids can't die, and women dying, and bystanders dying. That's why when a cop is chasing someone on the street in a car, okay, high pursuit, at some point they tell them, lay off, let it go. If you're going to injure others in this pursuit, let it go. We'll get them another time, okay? Or they'll try to pick him up down the road somewhere by another unit. But to chase him through, the cops will get fired because they cause accidents and hurt people, and sometimes fatal.
You ever met a good cop? Putting you on the spot.
No, I'm going to tell you. So let me give you my perception of that first, and let's call it ode to Mike DeLong.
Okay, this is the ode to Mike DeLong.
I don't believe there's any good people.
Oh, no, nice, very nice.
I get that.
Very nice.
I really.
Yeah. All of us are broken.
If you only knew how I model myself out, like, guys, listen. People's like, I think he's a good guy. Listen, I'm not a good guy.
Yeah.
I try.
Yeah.
I try to be decent, I promise you.
Okay.
I try every day of my life to be as decent as I possibly can. But
okay,
good,
let me rephrase. Do you think there are cops trying?
Yeah, but I think that I think it's difficult to stay on the right side of the fence when you know the consequences of going on the wrong side of the fence are almost non-existent.
So this is what I think's happening, and you tell me if you think I'm right. I'm just calling it like I see it.
Okay.
Right? I think that from my worldview, I look in at law enforcement and go, yeah, there are things we need to address. I'd like to talk about it, but I think 99% of the cops are good. And I think you look at it and go, there's a lot we need to talk about, and I think it's 50-50 at best.
At best. Let me tell you something, Mike.
Do you agree with that statement?
At best.
Okay.
At best.
But you see the world, how the world view,
Absolutely.
how your
Absolutely.
experience shapes your view of that. My experience shapes my view of that. And maybe there's truth in the messy middle here. You know what I'm saying? Like somewhere there's some truth.
We probably don't engage in the same viewing, you know.
Yeah.
I'd imagine there's probably nothing we watch that's
That's a lie. You know, we probably watch some of the same shows. You're a liar. We got Netflix. We're watching some of the same stuff.
Fair enough, but you understand what I'm saying.
I hear you.
Well, unfortunately, a few years back, it's not. I don't say unfortunately. Let me rephrase that. Fortunately, I believe. I don't know. I got really into these YouTube videos, seeing what was going on.
Right.
Like, whoa, wait a minute. And then to see, not guilty, then see something else. Not guilty, something else. Not guilty. And this became, wait, this is become an epidemic. Like, you know, and no offense, but it's almost a relief to see a cop kill an unarmed Spanish guy. Like, Jesus Christ, spread it around. You are killing us like left and right. No gun on scene, no jail time, and more often than not, no charges. Like, what the heck is that? What? You know?
What about your view on that, though? You watching these videos, you're watching the outcomes. A lot of these outcomes are happening, and they're trials with juries, and not all these juries are all white juries. Mm-hmm. So what do you think's happening?
So this is the thing. You know, you can play tricks and get away with a lot of
You
stuff.
think it's legally maneuvers?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Let's charge him with first-degree murder because we cannot get him on first-degree murder.
Oh, so you think there's a plot behind the scene from the
Absolutely.
DNA level,
It's
the
not-
DA level?
The DA, absolutely.
I think this is another worldview thing. So I mean, let's go at this. Is perfect, right? I've never heard this. This is perfect.
Okay.
So I look at it and I go, there's this public outcry. Mm-hmm. They put pressure on the DA to charge first. The DA goes, well, I'll do it, but I know we can't get it. Mm-hmm. And then they charge and don't get it.
That's right.
But you look at it the other way. You look at it like the DA sitting there going,
Well,
I'm going to do this because I want him off.
A lot of people who want these charges, they don't really understand fully
How to do it. I agree
what
with that.
it takes to prove this particular charge.
I agree with that.
People, so, for example, Zimmerman when he killed Trayvon.
Yes.
Okay.
That's a great example of this problem.
Zimmerman, he's not a white Anglo-Saxon Protestant, but still,
Yeah.
he's a non-black guy. Let's
Yeah.
just say that.
Yeah.
Okay. Zimmerman, if he was charged with involuntary manslaughter,
I would even say just manslaughter. They would have gotten it.
Okay. They'd have gotten that.
I agree.
But third-degree murder?
I think they charged him with second.
Yeah,
didn't they?
second-degree murder.
I think they charged second.
Now there's the burden of intention.
Yes. That's very tough to
Was
prove.
this his intention?
Right.
First-degree murder is, it was premeditated. He
Planned.
He left it. He planned.
Yeah.
And guess what? You know how hard it is to prove these things?
I agree.
Virtually impossible.
I agree. I'm
So-
on the same page with you on this stuff. I've been saying this
The
for.
DA, it's his job to say, it's his responsibility to say, hey, listen, we can't get this.
Yeah.
And I know, I'm telling you, let's get him off the street for 10 to 12.
Yeah.
We're not going to be able to get this 25 years.
Yeah.
Okay? There's a cop, I forgot the young kid's name, little boy too. God forgive me, I forget his name. 16 shots.
Yeah.
16
I
times.
know this kid's name too.
16 times, Mike.
I saw that one.
Now, by the way, I want to address that worldview of the 50-50
Okay.
at best. I want to address
Yeah.
that. But either way, 16 times he shot this kid. Okay. He got convicted on so many counts for every bullet.
Yeah.
Okay. He killed this kid in cold blood, deliberately. And all you got was 16 years? Are you serious?
Yeah.
There's a guy who got 20 years, 25 years life for robbing someone with a toy gun. And you, a police officer, paid by me and you and the great people of America, and you plan to kill. You cannot say it wasn't planned when you shoot someone 16 times who was not running to. The paperwork is all wrong, and it took everything in our power just to get him off the street for 16 years. Guess what? He can get home and enjoy the rest of his life because 16 years doesn't amount to 16 years. You may get 10, you may get 7.
Yeah.
He's not going to do 16 years.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, by the way, let's address that worldview thing you said.
Yeah.
You think maybe 99% of the cops
Yeah.
are good. All right. Well, you got to remember this. This is your house, if you will.
Yeah.
This is the house that you've been empowered to see over, run this house, okay? You have 5 deacons, 5 deaconesses. You have, teachers. You have,
Sure.
okay. It's your job to know what they're doing.
Right.
Okay. And if you know that Karen is stealing, or you know that John is, whatever, having parties at the church when no one's around, or whatever the case may be, or chopping up the numbers, or whatever the case may be, if you know this and you don't say anything, you're part of this.
You're complicit.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And being complicit, depending on the situation, it's criminal as well. You can't watch your fellow officer hurt someone unjustly, kill someone unjustly, and keep a quiet, tongue. That you did it too. Then.
So this brings up my.
Let me give you
Okay,
something
go
real
ahead.
quick. I'm
Go ahead.
sorry. Again, don't remember the names. An officer. There was 2 black kids. They had BB guns, I believe. They were in a car. Anyway, officer, when they got there, took them out the car, took them in the house, and one of the officers proceeded to beat on the kids. They were 16 or something like that, 15,
Okay.
16. Choke them. So a black female officer, what are you doing? She went and grabbed the officer to pull him off. He got up, and he knocked 3 of her teeth out.
Her fellow
Her
officer.
fellow officer.
Oh wow.
And then the rest of the officers just grabbed her and held her. Well, she lost her job and her pension. She was fired.
You gotta send me that case. I haven't heard
I
that
absolutely
one.
will. He
Yeah.
eventually was charged, and I believe he got 4 years. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that picture?
Man, you just ruined my next thing. I
Yeah.
had this great idea, but you just ruined it.
Well, again, exposure.
Well, here's
you
my
know?
thing. This is what I've been saying this over the last couple of podcasts. I've been saying that I think I've been saying the opposite of what you just illustrated, which you kind of ruined it. Way to go. I've been
Gold,
saying,
right?
hey, I think that the answer is to community policing and some of the police reforms that we want and the accountability that we need is highly integrated police departments. We have one here in Kissimmee I'm fairly proud of in our city of Kissimmee. We have a large Hispanic population here in Kissimmee. We have pretty good Spanish representation on the Kissimmee Police Department. And let me tell you the story that I've been telling everybody where I came to this conclusion. And maybe it's flawed. Maybe it's my worldview. I don't know. But it's just what I've been seeing. I'm watching these protests. And you've got a lot of these young protesters, and they're right in front of these cops, and they're pushing them and baiting them into conflict and all that kind of stuff. And you're right. The cops shouldn't do it. And the white officer, he's got a black girl like kneeling in front of him.
Yeah,
And the white officer just knocked her down. Mm-hmm. And then that black officer, who was obviously a ranking officer, snatched him up. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, here you go. Mm-hmm. That's a perfect example of what we need. We need accountability, right? I mean, this is the system's working when you have that level of accountability and integration, right? That's been my single shot solo cure for our situation. What do you think? You're not buying it.
That was a nice one-off. But how many officers were in it?
We'll do that.
How many officers was in that frame that did nothing?
Well, we talked about it before, and I interviewed my buddy Daryl earlier today, and he said, "Yeah, Mike, that's a great idea. Except, remember, 3 officers stood by and did nothing with Floyd." And I said, "Yeah, but in response to that, if you're right, and the Floyd thing is partly motivated by race, we need more black officers."
No. How many other officers were in that picture when that man knocked that girl down?
Oh, yeah.
That did nothing.
I don't know. I haven't seen that one. I haven't seen that case yet. You have to send it to me. That's crazy.
No. The story
yeah.
The protester on her knees.
Yes. There was a line of officers.
There was
I don't know how many
officers. Yeah. The only one you saw charged behind him was the female black officer,
right,
who can directly relate to being a female black.
But don't you think that's the point? Like, isn't that a good thing?
This is the thing. When it comes to officers, and I'll be honest, I have a tainted view.
Okay.
Because of what I've seen, because of what I've heard, because of what I've lived through.
Yeah.
But I don't really look at police as being white and black and Spanish. They're blue, Okay. Maybe black cops stand by and watch white cops do all types of terrible things to black people. I've watched black cops like, yo, the cuffs are too tight. Shut up, like, because I'm big and they can throw me around and push me around. And the black cops stood there and did nothing.
So you think there's like that blue code goes deep?
I don't think, like, we've been discussing this for years. The blue wall of silence, like this has been an ongoing thing.
How do you fix that?
So I think police have far too much power, and anybody, absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter who you are.
Right.
It does not matter who
power
you
is
are.
A responsibility. Power and it can
is
corrupt.
A responsibility. Yeah. It's become far too cliche. With great power comes great responsibility. But though it's lost its oomph, people don't realize how essential it is to adopt that perspective today more than anything.
Right.
When you, if you're the good child, or at least perceived as the good child, if mom has decided that this is the good one, and anything you do, she'll spin it to make it as though the others are wrong. Well, why would you stop? What's your incentive to stop? If I shot a few people and, beat up a few people, and all I got was some complaints, $300,000-400 grand, I didn't pay it. Big deal. I let this guy out of jail today, and I came to his house and rearrested him just because I could. I stopped what I'm doing. Black guy walks by and says something while I'm arresting somebody, I'm arresting you too. Who do you think you are?
Right.
I know who you think you are. An officer with unlimited power. You don yourself, you fashion yourself as a god. When you can do what you want and not worry about repercussions, ramifications, how you destroy other lives. When you have an audience before you recording you and you just said, yeah, I'm still not going to stop. You know who I am? I've seen big hulking officers beating on 14, 13-year-olds. What do you do? Beating up families. A whole family. Mm-hmm. Black people can't do anything with some comfort today. We have this new thing now, Karen. You kidding me, Mike? Are you kidding me?
We were talking about this before we started recording.
Are we really that backwards? Are we really that so far in the Stone Age and have our heads up our butts that you mean to tell me every time you just get the notion to pick up the phone to call and see, this is you're not going to agree with this, and that's fine.
Don't kid me. Let me hear it.
But if America knows that police have ended up killing black people unarmed in something as simple as a traffic stop, okay? A traffic stop where there are no victims.
Right.
And you as an American know this. You knowing that police encounters with black men especially have a tendency to go wrong sometimes. Well, if you're calling police on a black man and you're saying he's threatening you, he's threatening your dog, he's this, he's that, he's trying to break in your building, he won't leave, he doesn't belong here, he doesn't rent space in his gym, he has his thug friend. If you do this, you're calling the police. Well, my perspective is you're trying to get them killed because you know how they handle us. All you have to say is, I think he may possibly know somebody who has a weapon. Good enough. Just that alone. It's enough to come in guns blazing. You serious? A fleeing suspect is not a threat to you. He's running from you. How many officers have shot people in the back? What's going on? You know, I'm from Brooklyn, remember? I was in New York still when Abner Louima took place. When officers decided to take a plunger. Because this man, I believe he was homosexual, but he was around some homosexual club or either way. But either way, you guys arrested this man and something made you say, guys, we should put this plunger in his rectum. How does anyone think this way? That's the thinking of a drug cartel. He wants to make a statement to his enemies.
Yeah.
Who thinks like that? A couple of guys went to jail. A couple of guys got put on desk duty. Eventually, everybody, came home and they're living their lives. I don't think you should come home. I think every single person in the precinct who was at work during those hours should have been fired, should have been charged with accessory, because you hear the screams of a man being violated with a plunger. Come on, in the precinct. The screams, I could only imagine what that sounded like. Okay, that's the era I'm from. The era where Amadou Diallo, an immigrant, who sells wallets and purses and stuff like that, is coming out of his home. He has his wallet in his hand. He has his wallet in his hand. And he gets shot 41 times by NYPD. There were holes in the bottoms of his feet, which means he shot him as he lay there dying. Guess what, Mike? Nobody went to jail. Oh, well, they thought it was a cop. They thought it was a gun. That became the norm. Oh, I thought it was a gun. Oh, my life was in danger. I feared for my life. It's very, it's rehearsed. I feared for my life. I thought he had a gun. These are the norms. You see videos where officers pull someone, and he know his buddy's over there, waiting, and he got a gun. Whoa, what gun? Turn the engine. I'm not turning nothing off. If I move, you're gonna kill me. You got a gun on me. You're yelling to your partners he got a gun. I'm not, not turning nothing off. But what if there was no videotape of it? It's like, bro, there have been whole precincts that had nicknames because everybody knew what they were about. The Dirty 30. That's one of the notorious nicknames of a precinct in New York. So
the Dirty 30?
Dirty 30. So much corrupt. There's documentaries on corrupt cops. Okay, corrupt precincts, corrupt sergeants, corrupt captains, lieutenants, and everything in between. Okay, documentaries. And a lot of them, they walk because they tell the other ones. Well, what exactly did that do? Okay, you got some off the street, but then you let some free because they cooperated. So they really didn't pay for the things they did, you know? And grant you're not going to catch everything. But for it to be so, put it this way, think to yourself, this time, it's not blacks marching and protesting and rioting in America or in Florida or in New York. That's not what's going on this time. It's going on everywhere. Everywhere. Like there's something stirring up. They're knocking down historically racist statues. You know, they're marching, they're yelling, they're screaming. You're seeing signs saying Black Lives Matter from people that don't look anything like me.
Yeah.
Okay? It's just
Let me ask you a
gone.
question, because you've brought up a bunch of cases, some of which I'm literally mentally keeping track, because I'm like, hey, wait a minute, hold on, I've never heard that one. That's crazy. I'm currently mentally Googling
That's fine.
Dirty 30.
I got you. I got you.
You know, I know, I'm serious. I mean,
got
you
you.
brought up these have obviously left an indelible mark on you.
Absolutely,
Right.
Mike. Come on.
But do you believe, do you believe, or I don't know how to ask this and not come off like a jerk, but do you believe the numbers? Do you believe, what they tell us now is that the Washington Post for the last, since really just before Ferguson, has been keeping track of all police violence across the United States, that they have a task force that does this. They're the only organization that is really putting out numbers that anybody believes. Do you believe the numbers? I
actually didn't know that. I've heard numbers, just throughout the years and stuff about, blacks as opposed to whites, and how the arrest and,
They're saying to us that, and I'm talking in generalities, I'm giving the ballparks, right? This is not exact, but they're saying basically 1,000 police shootings a year on average, 300 or below are black people involved. 4% of those are unarmed. Do you believe those numbers?
4% of 300
That are unarmed.
that are unarmed. I don't know. So this is the thing. Are we just arguing unarmed black men that are murdered?
No, I think what we're saying is when you invoke these stories, they're powerful. And they are passionate. And they get to the heart of the debate surrounding what are we going to do about power structure, race as it relates to power, policing as it relates to power and to the public. But whenever you mention one, you realize that the conversation then goes in the direction, okay, well, what are we talking about here?
Okay.
Like, what is happening? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And people want to know. They're like, okay, well, what is actually happening? What is going on? And I think I shouldn't say that I think. I assume that from the black perspective in the black community, they're going, hey, there's a lot going on here, right? And think about it. From my worldview, we're not having these same, agreed, I'm not having
Right.
these type of police encounters.
Right.
Do you see what I'm saying? So I'm left going, okay, what are the numbers? And what are we talking about here? And what is the right thing to do moving forward? Does that make sense?
Well, for starters, when I come here, or when I used to come here religiously, when I used to come here every Sunday, try to get every Wednesday, you knew things that I didn't, that I wanted to know.
Right.
So how do I do that? I listen.
Yeah.
And when there's an opportunity, you ask questions. And then you may even do a little research.
Yeah.
You may have to partake in some really gruesome videos, to get an idea of videotaped homicides, administered by people who are paid to protect and serve. So you can dumb down numbers in a way to make it seem as if, oh, nothing's really happening here. For example, unarmed black men being killed, well, that's one number. Unarmed black men being abused,
It's a different number.
it's a different number.
Yeah.
Unarmed black men being locked up.
Civil
for
right
smaller
violations, different
exactly.
number.
Unarmed black men being given 5 tickets for a taillight being broken.
Different number.
Unarmed black, you know what I'm saying?
Agreed.
Th-
It's a
there
good
was
point.
an unarmed black
It's
man.
a valid point.
I think he's 17.
This is bigger than just the life and death.
Absolutely.
struggles, right? Yeah.
If you focus on just the
Then you've
the
been
things we
selective
have, absolutely,
in your view of
and
it.
that's what a lot of people, when all lives matter, like what you don't understand is this: we're not talking about something that happens once in a blue moon. This is an everyday occurrence.
Gotcha.
Maybe not an everyday occurrence that a white officer or an officer, period, is killing a black man. That's no. But something of the things I mentioned is going on every single day in America. It's not okay. It's not okay for this to be the norm for us just to relinquish our rights. You pull me over, let me turn my car off, take the keys out, put my hands up, and open the door. Can I search your car? Well, I don't want you to. Oh, I'll bring the dogs and you'll be here forever. And I had a cop tell me years ago, me and a buddy of mine, we had came from the Bronx. And I was driving, and it's freezing outside, Mike. It's New York. It's like December, late December, whatever it was.
That's why you moved on here.
Right, absolutely.
You can't take all that.
But so I didn't have a fancy truck, it was an Explorer,
Yeah.
And I was the guy that in the winter I ran my heat. It's cold.
Yeah.
In the summer I ran my AC. My windows are open if I chose to. That's. Anyway, me and this guy, we were smoking in the truck, and we were parked in front of this it's like some kind of redirection school, I guess, adults, some social service thing, whatever. And his lady friend lived a couple of houses down from there. So it was an open space. We sat there, never left the vehicle, no big deal. So we talking, laughing and stuff, and he was like, "Yo, I'm about to get out of here, look." So I see, the unmarked car, the Impala. So I knew, here the cops go. But the most they're gonna do is smell, marijuana and, Well, unfortunately, that was just the beginning of it, They stopped him as he was walking to his girlfriend's house. Let him go instantly. Okay, he's short, 5'4", 5'5", he's a little dude. And then they come to the truck. 3 officers, 2 white, 1 black. Hey, what's going on? Nothing. You think I'm a joke? No? I saw you laughing at me. Laughing at you? Yeah, I wasn't laughing at you. And obviously the language was far
More
different than
colorful.
what- Absolutely. I'm just
You're helping us
trying
out.
to be mindful
Thank you.
of,
Thank you for helping us out.
so I'd hate you to be pushing that. Beep, beep. But I saw you laughing at me, such and such, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, I was laughing because my buddy, he wanted to smoke again, and I was like, bro, I'm going to go home. Like, geez, you don't get enough. Yeah, you think it's funny? Da, da, da. Okay. License registration. So I get it to him. Now he's telling me to get out the truck. We got a dilemma. It's ice cold outside. I don't have no shoes on. Officer, can I put my boots on? Get out the mother. Mind you, 2 whites, 1 black. Who's the most aggressive?
I'm guessing the white
The
too.
black guy was
No, the
by
black-
far.
More aggressive?
When I said, it's like, what did I do? You don't talk to my effing blah, 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 like that. Get out that. Like, I'm like, what did I do? I don't get. Like, he was
Livid.
going crazy, the black guy. Mind you, don't know if this has anything to do with it, but he was a light-skinned black guy. So I don't know if he just wanted to fit in and just wanted to let the cops know, hey, you know, I'm
On
with
your
y'all.
team?
You know, it's blue. You know, the hell with this black guy. It's blue. Anyhow, all but dragged me out the car, and I'm standing in my socks on the cold, wet New York winter ground, trying to talk and collect myself, and it was almost impossible. What you shaking for? Huh? What you shaking for? You got some? I mean, they talked to me as if I was a dog, especially the guy who was most resemblant of my color. It's okay. He went in my pocket, found 2 bags of weed. Yeah, I can take you to prison for this. You want to do some time? I can lock you up forever for. I was like, sir, I collected myself. And said, we were just smoking. I'm sorry, you know. And I asked him, why did they stop me in the front? Like, what did I do?
Yeah.
You're illegally parking. I didn't leave my car. You know, it says no parking. This place is closed, sir, since 4 or 5 this afternoon. It's 11 something at night. You know, that didn't matter. You know, you know, I got you. So this is enough for me to abuse you any kind of way I feel and see fit. Before they took me out the car, they tell me to open the trunk, and I'm trying to open, but he keeps on yanking the door as the button's trying. And I'm like, sir, you got to stop. Open this. And he's going crazy. And I'm like, sir, get out. So I get out the car again, with their assistance, and I'm standing there and I'm answering their questions to the best I can, and they're tearing my truck up. There was a compartment in the back that he just knew he.
Go find something.
He found a drill. That's what the compartment was for.
Right.
It was it was the way it was shaped. It's like, wow, it's perfect for a drill, and that's what you found back there, a drill. So I'm sure they're a little pissed off because all you got is 2 bags of weed that, you know.
They were hoping for more.
They're hoping for more. He threw that on the ground and he smashed that with his feet. So then he goes, yeah, so, you know what I want, right? No, I don't. Are we playing games? There they go, surrounding me like a pack of wolves. Like, yo, you know what I want, man. Stop playing. It's like, yo, bro, listen. Yeah, we can have this truck towed and take it piece by piece and have it sent to you in the mail. Piece at a time. That's what you want? I was like, no. All right, then, you know what we want. So, yo, what are you talking about? Yo, we want a gun. What's up? I don't know who you guys think you stopped. My girl lives a few blocks. My kids live there. I'm a working man. I don't know nothing about no guns. I don't know nothing about nothing. I smoke weed. That's it. What you think, boss? You probably should take command. And they toyed with me and played with me and made me feel like nothing. And then ultimately let me go. No ticket, no nothing. But they definitely left a mark on my memory for the rest of my life. You know, one of many. You know, it's.
We got to wrap up for today.
Yeah.
But on the way out here, what do you tell Miles about how to go about his day, about potential encounters with law enforcement, about how to conduct himself? How are you teaching him?
Probably the worst way.
What do you mean? Why did you say that? Why'd you go there? You feel like it's fused with too much anger?
There is no right way.
Okay.
The wrong cop having a wrong day.
Yeah, but I'm saying, what are you telling him about how to manage these
He's
situations?
seen me pulled over.
Okay.
He sees the cop. He sees the car go off.
Okay.
The keys go on the dash, and my hands are in the air. And you know what he does? It's unfortunate that this is the world we live in, but he starts recording immediately.
Okay. He gets the Facebook Live going. Yeah.
That's where we're at now.
Yeah, but do you talk to him like father to son and be like, look?
I do. I never one-on-one. I talk to everybody. Morgan
To the whole family?
Yes.
Okay.
Morgan will be 10 next month.
Okay.
And to her, she doesn't comprehend, like,
what's going on?
Why those cops, stay on his back like that, you know? Like, well, why would you not like someone because their color? Like she's oblivious, to why any of this makes any sense.
Yeah, because racism is learned, and she's not old enough to learn all that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, she's old enough, but
yeah,
no one's
but you know what I
teaching her
mean.
that crap.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah, you know what I mean.
So, but Haley goes to Valdosta University, and that part of Georgia is still set back
I've been to
in the
Valdosta.
dirty South.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, there was a student that was killed, really horrific, and 2 Caucasians that were attached to it. Well, they have ties with the police, and in result, the guy never got justice. Okay, I'll send that to you as well. And when what they did to him, it was just like so bad,
Yeah.
Anyhow, so I need her to know that, unfortunately, everybody's not your friend. There are people who will not like you because of your bubbly personality. There are people who will not like you because you won't let them in. There'll be people who won't like you, sadly, because of your complexion, because of the texture of your hair, because of, your lips being bigger than theirs or your nose being bigger, whatever. And I say, it's unfortunate. And she grew up with a lot of Caucasian kids in school. But I needed them to know that, yes, racism is alive and well in this country. And though you may not practice it, you may not see the logic behind it, there are other people who will argue even in their heads the rationale and say, no, this is the right way. We're supposed to be separate. They shouldn't have what we have. They shouldn't be allowed what we're allowed. So I don't tell her to behave in such a way to, make anyone feel that you're a racist, because I don't want you to be that way. But I just want you to know that, every guy on the football team who offers to carry your books is not looking to just be your friend. He's not looking to make your day a little easier. Right. Unfortunately, sometimes people have ulterior motives, and I just want to expose you to them. I don't want you going on unannounced places without someone knowing where you're going.
Right.
No matter what, on my best day, it's going to take me 3 hours to get there. No matter how much I tear up the highway, it's going to take me 3 hours to get there.
Yeah.
So there's nothing I can do to help. So I need you. And Haley's naive. She didn't grow up. My wife is naive. She's not. It's like this is blowing her mind. She knows it's there, but she couldn't understand why I had taken such an interest in it, a few years back. And I think she's starting to understand.
Well, don't you think part of that too, though, is that the latest studies, all the latest studies, and there's a couple also in you, that they're finding over and over again. Set the racism discussion aside for a moment. They're finding over and again from a sociological look that there is a, and I'm speaking generally here, but there's a fear. There's a fear amongst white people of black men.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And so don't you think that makes it logical that the girls would have a different perspective a little bit? They're not picking up on this like you're picking up on this.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But, so, with all that's going on now, and we'll have to save this for another time.
Oh, no, I definitely want to do a part 2.
Right, absolutely, absolutely. But it's so much deeper than just that. You got to ask yourself, well, why are white men
No,
scared
no,
of
I absolutely.
people, you know?
Absolutely. What's
You know,
going on?
What's going on?
Right.
And you know, I don't get as in depth as some of these people that are, you know, clear racists that look like me. You know, white devil, blah, blah, blah. Like yeah, I don't want to be that guy. You know,
Okay.
I don't want to be that guy.
Fair enough.
But I do go as far as to say, hey, you know, you brought us here unwillingly. You brought us here. You forced us to come here. And then eventually, when we were set free, if you will, well, we're economically tore up. We're set back hundreds of years because you brought us here. We didn't have a base. We don't have a platform to build on. So, okay, you set, I'm sorry,
No, you're
you
good.
set a bunch of slaves free. Awesome. But what the hell are we doing now?
Right.
So a lot of people don't factor in that the only place that would take us is low-end shacks, you know, low-end communities, impoverished communities. Well, there used to be a series on YouTube, I think they outlawed it since then, like bum fights, where they were paying homeless people to fight each other.
Sure.
Like, how heinous is that?
Sure.
But, well, why would two homeless guys just fight each other because you said? Because they don't have nothing. And you're telling them, I'm going to give you something.
$10. Yeah.
And that's, wow, that'll get me through the next 2 days. I can eat, you know, pizza today instead of garbage. You know, I can get me a McDonald's burger if their stomach be coming in the door instead of, you know, hoping someone drops a sandwich today. Okay? So we were put in an environment that was angry.
Yeah.
A very angry, brother, let me tell you something. Brooklyn, New York, Brownsville, East New York, Bushwick, Fort Greene, angry places. Canarsie, Brooklyn used to be a predominantly white area. There was a project set in the back called Bayview Houses by the water. Awesome. When we moved up there, I thought we was like, this is awesome. Yeah, it looks like the projects, but you know, this is different. This is nice. This is The floors only go up to 6 or 8, but this is, and then the water, we can walk to the water. It's only a couple of miles down. And then they started letting too many black families in. And it got ugly, really ugly. But again, when you have nothing, you'll fight for it. You know, we weren't allowed to be punks in the neighborhood. You're a punk, you're a target. You know, if you wasn't down to sell these drugs, man, you better keep it moving. You better be a school nerd. Don't try to be cool. Like, me and Mike's cool. That's my boy. We hang together every day. Yeah, well, Mike's selling with drugs with us now. So you better get on out of here. And guess what? You don't have no job. So I worked some of you for years.
Yeah.
You know, I made that $100 and something every 2 weeks. And then Mom's took her cut. I didn't have nothing, really.
Yeah.
So selling drugs was a great alternative for a lot of people. Remember, this glass ceiling still exists. You know, we don't talk about it as much as we used to because there are some black billionaires and some black millionaires and there are blacks doing all types of things now. Yep. Okay. There's still a glass ceiling, okay? And we don't talk about it. And a lot of people felt trapped. There were a lot of people who would not even look at your application if your name sounded ethically related. Like if you, Leroy Jenkins, you're kidding me. Get out of here. You know, a lot of people, I've had people, I was working at a place and buddy came and put in an application and I found his application like 100 pages, like what happened, you know? And the girl told me, she's like, just let you know, they don't really, you know, I'm surprised they brought you on. Serious? Like, it was a certain kind of black person they hired in the village. It's a certain kind of gay or looked gay or had the earring in his libret and, you know, cut off muscle shirt, you know, just real different, eccentric. There's a word.
Okay.
Okay? Just a black dude with a shirt and tie, they didn't want no parts of it. I was like, wow, that's crazy. So maybe that wasn't directly race-related, but maybe it was. I don't know. But we've been fighting just to... A lady said something the other day, and I was like, wow, that's crazy. She says, imagine playing Monopoly. And I get 400 turns before you get one. And as I go around the board 400 times, or however many times I can accumulate in 400 turns, I get to keep everything I've accumulated over the time. Now it's your go. How do you catch up? Okay, I'll give you, take New York Avenue. Well, every time I land on your property, I'm paying you $1,000. You land on mine, you're paying me $50 bucks. Like, how do we catch up?
Yeah.
So, yes, Chicago is angry as hell. Detroit is angry as hell. Baltimore is angry as hell. Yes, there are some ghettos, man, and I would not step foot in. The southeast part of D.C., when I lived in D.C., we didn't go over there. Daytime, go see my boys' kids, and we got the heck out of it, okay? And I'm telling you this, I'm from Brooklyn, New York, and I'm telling you certain areas in the Bronx, certain areas in Brooklyn, so I don't go to because I know they're angry. And it's so embedded in them, they don't even know. They don't even know. Their parents passed on this, they saw that, they heard stories, they realized if there was a camera, maybe this would have been different. Man, drug dealers, it's not justified to kill you if you're breaking the law. It's justifying to kill you if you're a threat to kill someone else. Just killing people is, and that's not uncommon where I'm from, by the wrong hands. You know, and again, people are angry at the cops. People are angry at each other. You got to be a certain machismo. You can't be a punk in the hood, and the hood is overcrowded. You know, and we learned to fight for anything. Your mother, my mother, that's fighting words. Your mother what? Like, he didn't even say your mom's this or that. That's enough.
Right.
You make fun of my sneakers, that's enough to fight. Think about it, for years, people were getting robbed and killed for their sneakers. Think about that. We were killing each other. Blacks, at least for the most part, I know, it was us, my people, killing each other over sneakers. Well, you think, well, why would you kill someone over some tennis shoes? Because I can't afford them. Because the kids laugh at my sneakers. Because my mom is a drug addict, or because my dad left when I was 2, or whatever the reasoning, because I have nothing. So I realized I can take stuff. Wow. How many kids are running up in these Gucci stores and during the riots? Why? I don't have this stuff. I can get it now. I can get it, sell it, and get me some money. And they may do the dumbest things with it. I see kids with $250 on their feet.
Broke as a joke, but got
Walking.
$250 on their feet.
Walking.
Yeah.
Which makes no sense. But it's nice to look like something, too.
Yeah.
It's nice to feel like somebody. And it's unfortunate. It's really twisted logic. But, again, we were brought here, and then we were enslaved. And then when we were freed, we were so far behind. Like, there are millions of white people along the way that helped us. Millions. And I don't want to take the light off of them. But you got to think, like slavery was the law. That was the law here in America. That was the law. That because your complexion is different and your features are different, you're only valued at 3/5 of a man. So it's going to take 2 of you to equal my 1 vote. What? How? So you got to kind of like go, you know, when people are schizophrenic, psychotic, sociopaths, they can't perform in the bedroom, they're shy away, or even when they were gay and stuff, we traced it back to things that happened to them as children. You got to trace this stuff back. It's not just, oh, blacks are angry and they're wild and violent. No. Why?
What's the reasoning?
I learned from a very intelligent man that sits before me. the why is more important than the what.
Yeah.
Why is it this way? Why?
Yeah.
So I think
Let's have part 2 and go over a whole thing on why.
Yeah,
What do you say?
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. And this is nowhere near what I expected. I expected to be just over emotional and stuff. I'm like, you know what?
You were great.
I'm glad
and
that
I
we
appreciate you
talked.
sharing from your heart.
Yeah, man.
Thank you for coming in.
Thanks for having me,
Pewology
Mike.
thanks you. The church thanks you. Thank you for sharing.
Likewise.
Come back.
We will. Absolutely.
Right.
You
Love
tell
you.
me.
Hey, goodbye. God bless. Love you guys. Mean it.
Pleasure, guys.